The great polymathic Charles Munger, born January 1, 1924, passed away on November 28, 2023. An American lawyer, businessman, investor, and philanthropist, he was vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway from 1978 until his demise in 2023. Warren Buffett described Charlie Munger as his right-hand man and closest partner, and the architect of modern Berkshire Hathaway's investment philosophy, with Warren Buffett himself as the general contractor.
In this video, Charlie Munger encourages us to copy Benjamin Franklin based on our own makeup and ability, but not blindly.
You found Ben Franklin when? How young were you when you first came across what Ben Franklin had done?
Well, I think high school, yeah.
And that's when you started modeling yourself after some of the
I
things
don't know when I started modeling myself after Franklin, but I certainly tried to model myself a little. I like the mixture of financial life and regular life. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't copy. I didn't have any musical ability. And so Franklin he played 4 different musical instruments, one of which he invented. Well, this is a lot of musical ability that God simply left out of me. And so I can't do it. So I never made any effort to imitate Franklin's musical ability. But any other ability he had, of course, I tried to imitate.
Charles writes in and says, first of all, he wants to thank you, Charlie, for gifting some DJCO shares to establish that new Daily Journal Management Equity Incentive Plan. You talked about that earlier on. He said, additionally, he's excited about the rumored new edition of Poor Charlie's Almanack. First of all, is that true? But the real question he has for you, he said, you said that you admire Benjamin Franklin. Can you please elaborate on this subject and highlight the qualities that you admire in Ben Franklin?
Well, Ben Franklin was a genius. It was a small country, but remember, he started in absolute poverty. His father made soap out of the carcasses of dead animals that stank. Now, that is a very low place to start from. And he was almost entirely self-educated, 2 or 3 years of primary school, and after that he had to learn it all himself. Well, to rise from that kind of a starting position and become, by the time he died, he was the best inventor in his country, the best scientist in his country, the best writer in his country, the best diplomat in his country. You know, thing after thing after thing, he was the best there was in the whole United States. So he was a very unusual person, and he just got an extremely high IQ and a very kind of pithy way of talking that made him very useful to his fellow citizens. And he kept inventing all these things. Imagine inventing the Franklin stove and bifocal glasses and all these things that we use all the time. I'm wearing bifocal glasses as I'm looking at you. These are Ben Franklin glasses. What the hell kind of a man that just goes through life and his sight gets a little perfect? He invented the goddamn bifocals. And it was just one of his many inventions. So he was a very, very remarkable person. And of course I admire somebody like that. We don't get very many people like Ben Franklin.
No. I'm thinking the library system.
He was the best writer in he was the best writer in his nation, and also the best scientist, and also the best inventor. When has that ever happened again?
Yeah.
Yes, all these other things, yes.
So is there a new edition of Poor Charlie's Almanack?
And he played 4 different musical instruments.
That part I didn't know.
Everything else.
Yeah, that part I did not know.
One of which he invented.
Which
invented. The glass thing that, you know, when he rubbed his fingers on the glass, and they still play it occasionally.
Yeah, with like different layers of water in it.
Not only, but he actually played on 4 different instruments.
Yeah, and he was a diplomat and helped. Write the rules of the country, and taught us about compound interest with the trusts that he set up for both Philadelphia and for Boston that still hundreds of years later are paying out. No,
he was a very amazing person. And of course, the country was glad we were lucky to have him.
Is it true? Is there a new Poor Charlie's Almanack coming out?
Well, they're creating an online edition.
Okay. You've talked about some.
By the way, the Chinese edition sold way more than the one in the United States.
Well, there's more people there.
That's not the sole reason.
Why else?
Well, a rich old man looks like Confucius. In their system, there's nothing better than a rich old man.
In a speech titled Investment Practices of Leading Charitable Foundations, Charlie Munger had this to say when advising charitable foundations to imitate Benjamin Franklin.
Furthermore, all the good in the world is not done by foundation donations. Much more good is done through the ordinary business operations of the corporations in which the foundations invest. And some corporations do much more good than others do in a way that gives investors therein better than average long-term prospects. And I don't consider it foolish, stupid, evil, or illegal for a foundation to greatly concentrate investment in what it admires or even loves. Indeed, Ben Franklin required just such an investment practice for the charitable endowment created by his will. Why not thus imitate Ben Franklin? After all, old Ben was very effective in doing public good, and he was a pretty good investor too. Better his model, I think, than Bernie Cornfeld's. The choice is plainly yours to make.